Hello.
How
are you?
Hello.
How are you?
Sounds
You
good.
Hello.
Middle a little bit more.
I think
little
mine sounds a little lower just because I got the mask on.
Hello.
you're
Hello.
Well, no,
Can you guys hear me?
Well, you gotta be on it.
Oh, this is the first time John's ever heard his voice.
I actually was on a radio interview a long time ago. Stupid.
Oh, shit.
So this is Altura. Welcome to Altura.
Is any of this recording?
Yeah, it's been recording. Yeah.
Have we all been together at the same time since
When
the
we
opening?
did the stairs, the opening.
Since the
When we
opening?
did the stairs, the opening, and maybe a night
think
after
so.
that.
I think we were here at least one other.
I feel like John's only been here like 4 times total, so maybe 3 of those 4 times.
I'm busy. Jeez.
Busy guy.
the event and this one is like 2 out of the 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Altura podcast. Obviously, this sounds like the beginning, and we're okay with that. We want for you to hear what the Altura grassroots sound like. In our first podcast, we have all 4 of the Altura founders together to talk about everything that went into the creation of the collaboration. Part 1 of this talk is some of the backstory about establishing our motives as a group, being one height in Lincoln Heights, how we decided to build up in a theater from the 1930s, and finding inspiration from our neighbors. And please, excuse the mask. Omicron's a bitch.
But let's go around real quick. So you introduce yourselves. Say who you are. Let's start with John.
Okay. My name is John Acevedo, co-founder of Altura. Also co-founder / owner / creative director / artist of Prendas.
Respect.
My name is Eduardo Gomez. I am a multidisciplinary artist, and I am also co-creator of Altura. And yeah, I make art. I draw, I paint, I sculpt. And I curate shows, I guess.
You do now.
Yeah, you're official.
Yeah.
Actually, I curated a show before this one,
Right.
but
also-
this was different.
Curator of Palindromo.
Yes, this was different. This was like,
12,
want to start on a good note for show.
My name is Diego Guerrero. I am an undisciplined artist. I love being around creative folks. I feel like I get inspired, and I also sort of get involved where I can. And that's sort of where I'm comfortable, I guess, with Altura, and kind of looking to build my confidence in the art creative sense.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought that you would have just been
Me too.
all in, dude.
I know.
I act that way, but I feel like it's one of those like fake it till you make it situations. Like, because I've always had sort of creative inclinations, but I always doubt myself. So
You exude so much confidence. I never would have.
But you're a very well
it's
established.
the beard. It's the beard.
But you're also a very well established Los Angeles DJ. So,
Yeah, I feel like music has always been the most comfortable for me.
The beard is all powerful.
That's why I
Power in the
don't.
beard.
That's why I don't shave.
But you've done like printmaking. You've done creative stuff. But
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been in the art mix like quite a while. Like
you were an artist assistant as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love being adjacent, but I always feel self-conscious about, just
So that's natural. I think.
participating.
Putting yourself
I
out
do.
there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
that's a trip though, because we also trusted you in the plans for building. So
And he didn't even mention he's an engineer.
right, and he's an engineer.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm trained in that, so I feel like that's the type of thing that builds confidence, the training and the theory behind shit, and that's what engineering wise, yeah, I feel good in that.
But that also helps you in a creative way. I feel like big
That's dope
time.
about
That
our-
plays in your favor.
Collective. We all come from different kind of spectrums, right?
I mean, that's what the space is for, right? To kind of expand and build off of each other and be inspired by each other to eventually just kind of, to have that comfort to be who we want to be and like adjust and evolve into, what
Edward's teaching me how to DJ. Like, wow.
I know we heard you. Yeah, we heard you. We heard the scratches.
Give me time.
It's not even mixing. It's just scratching.
Hey, give me time.
Give me time.
Give me more time.
Yeah.
Or patience.
What about you, Adrian? What do you do?
So yeah, I'm Adrian Huerta.
Yeah, what do you do? What do you do?
Co-founder of Altura. Very proud of this situation. I can't believe that I'm here with 3 other amazing humans. But yeah, I do video, I do podcasts, I do photos, storyteller, and very much like an activist. I think for anybody that needs help, that's on the shitty end of the system. I feel just here to kind of lend whatever talents and expertise I have to help expand what I feel like is an amazing space and an amazing group of people that I feel like could help not just the community but each other to get better and evolve. So yeah, but no, welcome to Altura. This is our space. We have some things that are written on the website, and we've kind of sort of defined ourselves in a certain way. Am I right? I mean, anybody want to go off of how we would define ourselves? What is Altura? Who is Altura? Why are we here?
I think, or I know that Altura is a gallery and studio space. I mean, the space, we all work out of here. This is our creative, safe space. But we also have enough space to share with the community. And, from a kind of artist standpoint, and have a space to, share with the community and a platform for people to come and show their work, collaborate, and just share the space.
So I'm going to go to our website, altura.la, and our about us, because I don't remember how we describe ourselves except in text. But Altura is an art gallery and studio space located in one of the oldest neighborhoods in Los Angeles, Lincoln Heights. As an interdisciplinary collaboration between visual arts, music, and fashion, Altura will house a variety of exhibitions and events in an effort to bring together local artists and the community. I mean, we went through a couple of versions of that. A couple of edits of that, some very interesting edits of that. But I mean, I think that's the best way to put it out. That this is who we are. This is what we do. With the first showing of Palindromo 12, 11, 21. I mean, how do you think we did so far? I mean, we had our show, we had our opening. How did we do?
I think it's fair to talk about sort of the build up to it. We all sort of have had this vision of having a space to be creative, and I feel like just the idea of having space and time is super kind of a privilege, which it really shouldn't be, but it is. And we're all kind of privileged in the sense that we can, put a little bit of time and money aside to give ourselves that space and feed off of each other's creative energies. So I feel like just the search for finding a space was its own thing, which we can talk about for a while, but it was sort of just agreeing that we all wanted a space and working towards it and going through sort of all the little tedious things of like, organizing a viewing of a space and filling out forms and, connecting the internet and all these little things. Paying rent. Yeah, rent. Exactly.
Our landlord doesn't even know my name. It's great.
Was it call you Gabriel?
Gabriel. My name is Gabriel now. So
Gabriel Huerta.
Right. Gabriel Huerta. But I mean, it was tough. It was hard. Just finding the space was hard. But I mean, coming to the point that we are now, I cannot believe that we are at this point. Like every time I walk into the space, I think, wow. Like we did it. I forgot that
everything was worth it.
It was a trip. I mean, but with that process, what do you guys think was the hardest part of this?
I feel like coordinating us being here at the same time, right?
That was a challenge
because we all work. We're workers, working class. It's not like we're Was that, what do they call it? Hedge fund babies or
Trust fund baby.
trust fund babies? That
Basically,
shit.
we don't have money.
You would have
Like,
money. I mean, like we.
I didn't know what hedge fund money was. So for the people that don't know what that is, they just don't have money.
Yeah,
ain't got
we
no
don't
money.
have money to hire people to build this stuff for
Yeah,
us, so
like-
we build it ourselves.
So we built it ourselves, and
You want it bad enough, right?
it wasn't hard. It was just challenging a little bit for me because I live the farthest. I live in Long Beach.
Right.
But
And we are based in Lincoln Heights, so
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can talk about the space really quick. Some of us do live pretty close, and some of us, live in Long Beach, which is
yeah. But originally, I'm from Boyle Heights, so it's
Right.
also very
Familiar.
familiar. Yeah.
So
in Northeast LA.
in Los Angeles, yeah. So we're basically all east of the river at this
yeah.
point now.
Yeah. Exactly.
So-
Southeast.
Right. So Boyle Heights being a drive down a neighborhood or two over,
Yeah.
and then I mean Lincoln Heights is again the oldest neighborhood in the oldest suburban neighborhood, I guess, in Los Angeles. And just to kind of find the space, I think we kind of got lucky. The building itself is an old theater, the San Carlos Theater, which I believe opened in like the 1930s, and it's just kind of sort of been partitioned off and into small workspaces, and mostly garment workers. Garment spaces take up all of the spots. Some barbers, as well as
And living spaces upstairs.
there are living spaces upstairs as well. But I mean, just to be a part of Los Angeles and this kind of history and kind of evolving it, from the arts of theater, almost 90 years later, kind of sort of have a space in it is just kind of a trip. I mean, especially in Lincoln Heights. I mean, did you ever think, I mean, we aimed for this, but we went all around the city looking. Like we went to South LA, we went to West Adams where Ed lives.
He wanted to be in West
Arts
Adams.
district.
Oh yeah, we went through the arts district as well, where I got laughed at by somebody that I called. So the grind to find these spaces is kind of interesting and fun.
Yeah, I think it's important what you just touched on, just the cost of a space, whether it's for art or just to live. All of Los Angeles, I feel like, is super expensive. Definitely some areas more than others. Gentrification and all of these things going on, pushing people out. It's easy to kind of feel like if you are a creative person and you're not super wealthy and you're not tied to corporation and you're not sponsored by some old art institution, that you're kind of left out. So I think it's a pretty big deal to be able to have a space and not, be sacrificing or be giving control over to some sponsor all the time. It's sort of on our terms what we want to do. And it's really cool to be able to have kind of broken through a little bit of that in a sense, maybe gotten lucky, a little bit of luck, some work and digging. And yeah, I think it's sort of like a blessing, like a privilege that we're here, and we want to use that in a good way.
I mean, I think that's what was kind of nice about it was that people saw what we were doing, and I don't think we had an expectation of what people could have possibly thought we were doing by posting photos of us building stuff and posting pictures of us, sanding wood and putting up stairs and I mean, I didn't even think that was an idea, right? Like when we walked in here into the space in Lincoln Heights, we walked in, we saw the room, and automatically I thought, oh, you know what? All right, cool. Like I'm going to set up a podcast space and we're going to do interviews and we're good. And then all of a sudden Diego goes, oh, we can put a loft up there. I'm like, where, dude? Like, I mean,
Genius.
right. And I mean, to walk into the space and look at the space, you walk in and there's, 30-foot high ceilings and a very long room. And you don't ever think about building up because normally when you think about it, it costs money, right? And for us, we are lucky enough to kind of bring our resources together, which involves engineering and honestly just work ethic. I felt so useless in the whole building process of this thing. I was like, just tell me where to hammer and tell me what to drill and I'll do it. But coming with the plans and watching Diego, for me, my experience was watching Diego like go through these plans and find this random ass hole in the ground where he went to go, reinforce the foundation or help in the spaces where where he felt like he needed to help support a possible loft, which is right above us. We're right under the loft where our
It's still standing.
Right. Look, I was here for the build, and I say this with confidence. It was built by Mexicans, and we all know that shit's fucking perfect. It's great.
Solid.
Level and everything, but
Dude, just to come into the room and see that, and it for me, like, it inspired me. I learned to take a step back and be patient with what was going on, because I wasn't used to having to wait. Like, usually when there's a problem, I like to solve it right away and then just get to going and working and progressing. But the idea that there was a bigger vision, a different vision, something that I would have never thought of, because I think that would have costed money and like not wasted time, but would have cost time as well. I learned, I grew from just that experience, and we hadn't even created anything yet. There was just imagination and blue collar efforts and ideas, and everybody agreed like we should do it.
yeah, it was definitely a challenge for all of us to be here at the same time. But for me, it was like, just throw jabs at it every day. Like, just do what we can. Like, we're here. This needs to be painted. Like, just get everything ready for whatever the next big step was going to be.
Oh, that's right. When we
Clean
did
in
that,
between.
we didn't have the idea of the plan yet. We didn't know if there was going to be a show.
We came
didn't
in,
know
we
anything.
painted. We knew we wanted to build a loft. I mean, as soon as we first walked in here and, we saw the ceilings, and Diego said, oh, we could build a loft here. I was like, yeah, let's go.
Mando.
Like that's could be doable. No problem. We had the window, which we were lucky to have. And, it was just a matter of putting in the work after that. I mean, if we all could have been here together every time, we would have finished it a lot faster. But I mean, that didn't even matter. We saw the end goal.
Having jobs, like,
Yeah.
we all have regular
we all
jobs.
did, and we were all here at different times, and but we were all here. Like, we all came and we all put in hours, and just with time, we saw the end product of, it might take us a little longer, but we already had the vision. We saw it like already coming together, and it was amazing to see it, like, from the brainstorming phases to where we're at now. It's just like, for me, it was just like, oh man, it went pretty smooth. Actually, we didn't have a lot of setbacks.
Everyone did what they could, right? And nobody said, "Oh, I'm doing more than him," or "He's not doing enough." Which reminds me, like, a lot from one of Marx's quotes: "From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs." Right, and that's what this collective is about, right? Like, we put in what we can, and I mean, it's all for the collective effort. And that gives us power, right? We have our flag here in LA, in the art community, right? That's kind of run the opposite of that, where it's run by money, funding, by outside sources, people who aren't from the community, and this kind of represents the opposite of that. And I think that's pretty fucking dope.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a big deal, though. Like, the idea that I'm not in the art game. Like, I think the person that knows the most about it is Ed. But for the most part, like, we didn't ask, like, oh, how do we run an art gallery? Like, how much do we have to sell stuff for? Like, that's not what we're here for. Like, we're not here to make money. Like, Palindromo was amazing. I think we should all be proud of that. Like, I'll give us flowers. I don't give a fuck. Like, I think we bravo to us, right? But it's not just us either. Like, it's our partners, it's our friends, it's our community, it's the people the artists that were involved. It was, but
it took everyone that was involved.
Dude, everybody made that.
All the vendors.
Bravo to everybody that supported us, man. For
that
real.
Came,
Even I mean, people that showed up and came and did their thing. Like, everybody came out and did their thing. Like, 100. Like, everybody put out their best foot forward, and it was amazing. Like,
they came to the space, they saw the vision of what we were going for, and they believed in it the same way we did, and that's big. Like, to have an amazing
like your kind community support,
community of artists support, and get this space started on the right foot was amazing, and I just I can't thank them enough.
What was really cool was before the show started, the seamstress that came over and
All our neighbors.
Our neighbors, like everybody was invited.
That was probably one of my favorite
Yeah,
moments.
I really liked it. I really liked that.
It was, we were literally sweeping the last of the dust on the floor, and our neighbors came to pick up their paychecks because it's a Saturday, and they were waiting for their boss, and we were literally sweeping outside and inside, and I remember a few of us saw them and we were like, hey, you guys come check out the show that we've been working on. You guys have been seeing us walking in as during your workday, like you're literally there sweating and working, and you see us walk in, and you hear us close the door and you hear some banging going on. You probably don't know what's going on. And we're like, come check out what we've been working on for the last 3 months. And since they were just waiting for their boss for their paycheck, they had the time. So they came in, and seeing their faces and seeing their sort of like, they took a step back and they were like, oh wow, like this is really cool. And they appreciated being invited in. I don't know if they maybe thought that we were just gonna keep quiet about what we were doing, but it's definitely for them and with them in mind, and they're definitely a part of what Altura is. So it was really awesome and important for them to see it, and for them to be our first guests and to be able to enjoy it was awesome and really cool for me. It was probably one of my favorite things of that day.
And the show hadn't even started yet.
And yeah, and it had to start. We were prepping for it, but it was super important, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, to have our neighbors kind of, I mean, the people that were here before us kind of sort of bless the space in a sense. And I mean, that's phenomenal. Like you can't write that stuff. Like, I mean, you could hope for it, you hope that you're accepted by your neighbors and because I mean, when it comes to like the idea of gentrification and taking up space and not being from here, but like being younger and, that stuff's hard. Like that's a hard line.
Usually those are red flags.
Right.
Well, I think it's important to, if you're going to come from outside of a community into a community, that you can't think that you're above, or you can't think that you are not. I don't know. There's a lot of just history of folks coming into communities, and not that we're not a part of it because we've been here a while already, but not in this building specifically. But it's like the micro versus macro, right? It's like how you treat a new person you meet in a new space you're taking. It says a lot. Like you really do have to respect everyone and treat everyone well. And we would walk in and say hello to everyone, and we would always be pleasant to everyone and be helpful if we could. And they were always helpful. So it was just that exchange of energy. And now we see them and they see us. We have our doors open sometimes and they peek in and we invite them in.
And what's dope, they feel comfortable. The other day, one of the ladies asked me, hey, I lost my key to the gate outside. Can I borrow yours to make a coffee? And like, yeah, here you go. Yeah, no problem. And
they did that for us too.
Yeah, like then that's like that made me almost not tear up, but it warmed my heart to see that we're accepted here. We're not seen as a threat, right? Because I don't think we come across that.
Right. But I mean, doesn't that come with the idea of like the people that we're kind of sort of inviting in these spaces? Like, I think we all come from the same aspect of blue collar, lots of work ethic, grinding, so we kind of sort of have that, that empathy, and understand. I mean,
solidarity.
Right. Oh yeah. Solidarity.
Solidarity.
For that.
Yeah.
For sure. To understand that like we all grind, we all work, we all want to take the space, right?
You know what I mean?
Right. Or we have family members or friends that do this. Like my mom used to be a seamstress too, and so I kind of understand that grind. And I like to see those ladies do that. Like I like to hear those stories where they're willing to come in and kind of sort of get away from work, and when they leave they spend a little time to come and check out our space and think
and they enjoyed it. I remember that. Like, they really enjoyed it. Like, genuinely enjoyed it.
You know what's crazy is that they work harder than we do.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Like as many hours that we put in here, building, chopping, painting, patching, sanding, staining, everything. They're here way many more hours than us, and that's inspiration right there. Like,
they would beat us here, and then they would A lot of times they would be here as late as us,
No,
Yeah.
they're here on
They
the
were here
weekends
before,
too.
right?
and the weekends.
Sometimes 8
They were
days,
here before
7
us,
days a week.
and they leave after us sometimes.
They're here 7 days a week sometimes because I mean, there's times where I was here on Sundays and they would be here. Saturdays, same thing.
But that's the inspiration of the space too, right? Like, hey, all right, cool. These ladies grinding, we'll grind too. We'll do it.
We got to grind too.
Right, helps us all.
We got to keep pace.
Right.
Quick pause before we wrap up this Altura podcast episode. Just wanted to say thank you for being part of the Altura community. Without your time and support, we wouldn't be here. When you get a chance, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Feel free to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter at altura.la. Looking forward to hosting you at our next event. And please be sure to come back for part 2 of this interview with the Altura creators. Special thanks to Palma Sur for this track called Lo-Fi El Panadero con el Pan. You can listen to this song and more on Spotify and Apple Music. Be sure to keep up on Instagram at palmasur_lo-fi. And now, the conclusion of this episode.
Is there anything that you learned? Is there anything in this whole building process and all this? Is there anything that you've learned that you didn't think you could learn? I mean, we're older, right? Like we're all above 30 years old. We're millennials. We've experienced a lot of shit, but we've also been to school. We've been in the military. We've engineers, all that stuff. Is there anything you learned from this?
I learned how to make a railing.
A fence?
A fence? I'm pretty sure you mean a fence.
Barn door?
I was mind blown. Like when I was crimping, I'm like, yo, like I literally just made this.
For those people that are listening that don't understand what happened right now, when John was done, he posted
Not
a
just
picture.
me.
He posted a picture and
On my story.
oh yeah, on his story. What did he say?
He called the railing.
No, I just made a fence
He called it a fence.
that had to make a correction post, like railing.
Hey man, I appreciate you for
Asterisk.
admitting that though. That's tight though. That's good, dude.
I'm not good with words.
I learned how to build a loft and movable walls.
Yeah, that's kind of a trip.
We never
too.
built a loft or movable museum.
Is this the hardest thing you've done?
Thank you,
I
Diego.
wouldn't say it's the hardest thing, but I mean, I'd never done it before.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, we're willing to learn, watching YouTube videos, doing whatever we
All
need
in,
to do
dude. All in.
to, I mean, like just to have ideas of how to actually do it
And that's what the space is about, right? Like learning
and
and just
brainstorming off of each other.
Brainstorming.
I mean, look at what we had. We had a plan and we executed it to a T.
Right.
Like it was
I think
smoother.
the plan grew as we went
Yeah.
to, which is really awesome. And that's
it was
something
involving.
But that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't the four of us.
Right.
I think that's something that I learned, or I guess I've learned this before in the past, but I feel like it hit different this time. Working at small goals and like executing, and then using those as steps to take bigger goals, and then I don't know, just being able to have support from all of you guys and supporting each other and sort of seeing something come to fruition and just being in around a group of people that you really trust. I think that's something that it's like, John couldn't make it one day, but he'll come and he'll work more the next day that he can come, and it's like, Adrian and I were by ourselves one time carrying like 40-pound,
beams.
by ourselves for like 30, 40 minutes. And it's like, we're here. We trust each other to put in work. And I don't know. I think that was really dope, really beautiful to, and motivate. It would motivate us to take it to another level. It's like, okay, we did this part in 3 days. Like, yo, this is kind of crazy. Look what we did in 3 days. We put the framing for the loft up in 3 days. And then we're like, oh, we built the stairs in a day and a half. And then it's like the railing took a little more time because of some of the parts or whatever, shipping, but the painting and everything just, we chipped away. We chipped away at all these tasks, and they came together in a really beautiful way.
Edward wanted to keep painting more and more.
God,
It's fine.
If there's anything,
Are you
that I
mad
learned-
at it? Look at it.
Of course,
It was
not.
worth
No,
every
I'm not.
stroke.
It's beautiful, but at the same
It
time,
was worth every
I think I
stroke
learned that I hate white paint. I think that's what I learned from this. Is I fucking hate white
because
paint.
it gets dirty fast and then you got to paint again.
God, it's the worst.
No, staining this was the worst.
I have to. That was terrible too. Like
That
staining
was the worst.
yeah.
For me.
My fingers sucked. Everything
Dude,
was
my fingers were stained for
black.
like 2 weeks.
For sure.
That's some gray ass fingers.
Yeah.
Also, don't wear shorts while painting.
Oh, this guy right here.
Me,
Oh yeah.
Oh, you.
you, I had like,
No, I know. Yeah.
Your knees were gray.
yeah, and white, like the hairs were white on my legs.
Yeah, no. I mean, I as much as I hate white paint, I had spilled some black stain on that whole entire wall in the back. It was the worst.
You have to paint it again.
And then I had to paint it again. It was my fault. I mean, I can own up to that. I can eat that. Like, that's fine. That's my fault. But the idea where like, okay, we're gonna paint up to here, and it's like white. Okay, cool. And then Ed's like, oh man, we should paint all the way up there. And we're like,
and it worked out.
okay, I guess we're gonna paint all the way up there.
But we
And then
painted all that
no,
back one day.
That's
and
one.
then I painted the
that's
other
one
two.
side of the room, and then we go to the other side of the room, and it's like, we should paint all the way to the top. We're like, what are you talking about?
We're
right
done.
now? We're
Nah.
yeah. It looks beautiful though. You were right on.
We have to break up that ugly tan.
I'll give you that though. Out of right.
That break over there
Right.
with the window.
Right. No, it's beautiful. I mean, it looks like our logo. Our logo was the shit. I appreciate you designing that.
Break up that
it's
tan.
fucking tight though. So kudos to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for pushing us and annoying us.
Right. Right. At the same time, but it was worth it. We appreciate you for it.
John needed that kick in the butt.
No,
Driving all the way over here, being on his phone. Hey, bro.
There's
Yeah.
video, dude. The
Thank
time
you,
lapse is
Edward.
just John on his phone for 4 hours.
That was me researching how to make a fence.
How to make a fence.
I wanted to make it right.
Oh man.
No, what's cool is that we keep each other accountable. You know, I think some of us have a higher drive as far as like how much work we can do that night than others, and it's like for me at least, like I want to match that. You know, like I come, maybe I'm like dealing with whatever in my life and my job, stress, this and that, physical tiredness or whatever. But then I come and Ed is like, all right, let's go. And he's already prepped all the walls for painting. And I'm like, okay, fuck it, let's go. So it's like that push where it's like we meet each other.
Right.
Let's paint the roof. Fuck it. Right.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what do we got to do to get a scissor lift in here? I hate white paint, but
Dude.
what do we got to do?
Everybody was tired.
Right.
Like we all work. Like everybody's tired. Like it's just fuck being in here is just motivating. Like just seeing the plan and wanting to reach that goal. That like always for me.
And the
is
way it is
motivation.
now, it's so like beyond worth it. Right. Like dumb worth it.
Like the hardest part is done. Like
Yeah.
we already put in our work. Now it's just about being creative and like that's the easy part.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Easy for you.
Yeah,
man.
that's a fun part.
It's the fun part.
Not easy is the wrong word. Fun,
Yeah.
fun. That's the fun part. Yeah,
Yeah, fun part.
Because I mean, yeah, it's not always easy.